Giesen and Ben Giesen Growers Incorporated.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This application 2018-0-146 is to reconfigure the boundaries. Excuse me, I'm getting Tracy's voice. To reconfigure the boundaries of two adjacent parcels, so it's called a lot line reconfiguration. And by subdividing off about just over half an acre from the agricultural title and consolidating it to the 2 acre smaller acreage. This proposal does meet all the criteria of the land use bylaw. And Steve can go through the comments from the circulation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This application, as explained, is a realignment between two adjacent properties. We'll call it a reconfiguration or realignment of the property boundaries. Whereas explained, they're subdividing 0.5 acres off the larger agricultural piece. I'm going to tack it onto the back of the acreage there, an existing yard, which is 2 acres in size, and thereby enlarging it to 2.5 acres. This smaller yard here that contains some improvements on it. It is the existing, some of the buildings and one of the houses currently is too close to the county road. It's an older property, so it doesn't meet the bylaw setbacks. The applicants do want to add a shop building and such to the property. So by doing the subdivision and consolidation here at the rear, the building will be at the back, the rear side, so it'll be in behind and be able to meet the setback to the road and that sort of thing. It's roughly 100 feet by 255 feet strip of land is what's going to be subdivided and consolidated. So that'll give them a little bit more room off the county road and at the back of the parcel to accommodate. So the 2.5 acre parcel, it does meet within the parameters of the bylaw for parcel size on that. I'll give them the room. We had a tentative plan there for the shop building, so it should fit for that. As you can see on the photo here, and when the original subdivision was done, there's a CFO located to the west there, which is the same family. When that 2 acre parcel was created at that time, the applicants did adjust their permit numbers with the NRCB and reduce them in order to allow the acreage to be subdivided out there so that it can meet the MDS for that. So it's the same in the situation here with that. So that was accommodated in their previous application when the yard was developed. So with part of the circulation on this one, there's no objections were received on it. To this point, none of the utility companies require an easement. A couple they haven't responded yet, but so I do have a blanket condition on there just in case somebody responds here late for something. As well, Alberta Transportation, because of the distance of where this is located, also is a required referral, obviously because it's well off the highway. It doesn't take access off the highway. They've granted approval and have no concern with it. So with that, it does meet your bylaw for realignment. That parcel of land will be consolidated by plan survey from the surveyor. So we're starting with 2 titles. We're ending up with 2. One's getting bigger, one's getting smaller. There's no standalone separate title created in this situation. So with that, I have recommended approval to you with the standard conditions of property taxes being paid up to date, a development agreement if required, but it will be, the consolidation by plan by number of land surveyor, so it's not standalone, the blanket easement condition, and they would also be required to pay municipal reserve payment to the county on that 0.5 acres. At the market value of $8,600 per acre is the value that came back on that. And that's just to make it consistent with the earlier 2 acre parcel had to pay reserve. So since this is going to be 2, it is taken care of, 2 acre parcels, whatever. So it would be applicable on that acreage amount of 0.5 acres. So with those 4 conditions and the municipal reserve payment, compliance with the bylaw and no objections, I have recommended an approval to you.
So Steve, just a question. How did they kind of get to be where the feedlot is there, the intensive ag? Is that all in one other quarter and you kind of got a little bit of a zigzag thing there, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's split between the two.
Yeah, it doesn't quite follow the proper, the original quarter line, it goes down and around. The original quarter line would go straight across from where the feedlot is.
So those two lines line up to make the original?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, there was an alignment and a subdivision consolidation done years back too that then followed the access road into the feedlot and such.
So then if you subdivide off a piece off of the bigger piece and add it onto the little piece, does that mean that the bigger piece can't be subdivided any further?
that's correct.
Yeah.
That was the condition on the previous subdivision also.
Bob?
I'll move the recommendation.
Any other questions? Yeah, go ahead, Lawrence.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So here, it's right in the middle there from both quarters, so that means that both quarters cannot be,
Yeah, that's correct.
okay, yeah.
They already have subdivisions out.
Any further questions or discussion? I'll call for the question then. In favor? Opposed? Carried. Number B is application 2018-0149, Clinton Wayne Vanderwold and Sharon Joe Vanderwold, pages 29 to 41.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This next subdivision application, 2018-0-149 in the Northeast 2012-24, is an application to subdivide out a 3.29 acre first parcel out of a quarter section. And this application does meet all the subdivision criteria of the land use bylaw. It's located approximately 2.5 miles northwest of the town of Nobleford and a mile west of Highway 23. And you can see it's just off of Highway 520 there. And so we'll go through the planning, any comments from the circulation.
Okay.
Oh, did I get the right one?
Yeah, northwest,
Ah.
2 miles. You're west of Barrett right now. on the-
12.
on the screen.
Oh. Did I write down the wrong letter here? Oh, sorry about that. 11, sorry, I had 11 instead of 12. Apologize. I'll make it right.
And maybe as Hillary's pulling up here to show you, it's in the very northeast corner of the northeast quarter section. So the applicants have applied to subdivide out a 3.29 acre yard there for an existing old farmstead there. Contains a dwelling, garage, greenhouse, number of various agricultural buildings. Similar to the last application, which is kind of seemed to be a history and is likely due to the fact that some of these farmyards were established before bylaws were put in place to have minimum setbacks to the road. Their existing residence also doesn't quite meet the setbacks to the county road. This is the first parcel out of the quarter section, so it's eligible for subdivision. They're taking out the main yard area with all the buildings on it, as well as for the septic fields that it's
Hang on, Bob.
capturing
It's
on
all
the
right,
property.
I'm not saying anything. I get to see you at places.
Keep on, Steve.
Very
We're getting close. So,
We are getting close.
so So one of the things on this application, when it came in, and I had noted in my original preliminary planner notes, there was an abandoned well located in the very northeast corner of the property. So I had the surveyor go back out to capture that, because you have to check the distances there on the parcel to where the dwelling is and that sort of thing, or if there's a new dwelling proposed that we meet setbacks for that. So they did capture that. The abandoned well casing is in the very northeast corner, like right on the property line with the county's road. Must be pretty old because there was no casing found with that. It was just pretty much a collapsed hole there. There was, took them a while to actually find it. So I don't know if it collapsed or if it's so old that it was perhaps even maybe removed years back. It seems like it was one from the 1930s. But it's right on the property line with the county's road there in the very northeast corner is where it's sitting. So with that on there, the parcel at the 3.29 acres meets your bylaw, and they'll have some sufficient area there at the back of West 2 that if that older house needs to be replaced, that then they'll have room to properly construct to meet the setbacks to the county road on the parcel for that. During the circulation of this application, there is no objections and no requests for easements by any of the utility companies. Once again, like the last application, there was a couple of utility companies that haven't responded. So I do have just a blanket utility condition on there in case something comes in. But I have recommended approval to you with the conditions of taxes being paid up to date, a development agreement if required, and then the utility easement, and that would be the only requirements. As the first parcel out of the quarter section, this meets your criteria, parcel size meets your criteria, and there's enough room there to meet the setbacks to the abandoned well for residents if they were to be placed on there as well. And with no objections received, I have recommended approval to you on this application as well.
So Steve, just out of curiosity, where exactly was the well? Is it in the hash marks like it's on page 40?
It is. Yeah. Yeah, it is in the very northeast corner. Right on the property line with the road.
So it's in the subdivision itself?
Yeah, it would be
Right up there, yeah, right
in
there,
here.
yeah.
So has it been cemented off, you know? Like, I'm just thinking because it, Black Diamond, was it about 5 years ago? They had all that trouble with people building houses on lots where they had abandoned wells. So
Calmar. Calmar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so is that any,
Yeah, they're supposed to do reclamation. Well, some of these are so old that if the company's still alive, then they're supposed to do the reclamation on it and encase it and that sort of thing. Some of these older ones, sometimes the companies aren't even around or active anymore. And that's why the province has that abandoned well fund program they do where they pool money from the other companies that are supposed to take care of some of these as they come to light. But the other thing, why we have this legislation here is part of my subdivision review, I have to check these and see the distance. So we have to be a minimum distance back from there. So we have to ensure that if we're creating a subdivision that we have the area back from the well that somebody can place out so they're not going over top of the well. So if it was in the middle here or the place where you look at the setbacks, so that's where the house would be, obviously you can't put the house over top of the well, whatever, so it has to meet the setback radius from that well. So, so in this case, that's why I had the survey go back to capture it, because they had to measure that distance. So we're okay in this case because we got enough distance back, whatever. But yeah, this is new legislation because I think we've only been checking the abandoned wells here for 5 years, maybe.
Yeah, further.
But that was a result of that incident you were talking about where they built over top some of the wells. So.
thank you. Any other questions? Steve?
Mr. Chairman, I will move it for subdivision approval.
Horace?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wonder if there should be that, another condition put on that that abandoned well is well taken care of, that it would be no hazard to the property owner or something like that.
Steve?
Mr. That part with the well comes under the Alberta Energy Regulator, that they deal with that aspect, whatever. So part of the application here to us that we refer it to them, so then they're aware. They're aware of their records anyways, but if it's one that there's an issue, then they go through the Alberta Energy Regulator, and if it needs to be capped or dealt with, whatever, if the company's still after that sort of thing, the Alberta Energy Regulator deals with that, not the municipality, that comes under their mandate. So basically subdivision authority, you don't have the jurisdiction to put a condition on to deal with that. It's dealt through the province and the Alberta Energy Regulator. So we just have to make sure that we're so far back for development. So that's what we look at subdivision, that we're far enough back. But the other aspect is through the Alberta Energy Regulator.
Okay, any other questions? See none, I'm gonna call the question. Those in favor? Those opposed? Carried. Okay, let's move back down to J3. So I need a motion to, I guess, it's later on the table, we need to lay it off. Oh.
Take it out.
Bob? All in favor? Opposed? Okay, let's finish off pages 83 to 84.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I believe we were on the discussion of location. We haven't settled to dates yet, but you guys have kind of gone around the table and sort of given a preference as to location being either Canmore or Lethbridge, I think is what I took away from that, so.
Can we just get the motion, the original motion on the screen if that's possible?
Something happened.
Something happened.
Something happened.
I knew you were on it, right?
The original motion is that County Council select January 6th to 8th as the dates for strat planning retreat to be held in Canmore. Also, of discussion was whether to do it 2 or 3 days, 2 nights, I should say, 2 nights or 3 nights. And I guess, obviously, holding it in Lethbridge would make that a lot easier to do over the 3 days. Vote or a motion or something about the location? I can't make one.
Yeah. We were frozen.
Or frozen?
Frozen. So the original motion, here. As we're frozen here, I'll read the recommended motion is that County Council select January 6th to 8th, 2019 as the dates for the 2019 strategic planning retreat to be held in Canmore, Alberta. That's the original recommendation.
Okay, you want a motion? I'll make the motion. No, I still make a motion.
You can do.
Yeah, but I mean, you don't have.
I only have so much paper here to write down things.
No, but I mean, we want to make a motion on this one to be able to follow the deed.
Oh, it's just a recommended motion, you can make whatever motion
But
you
then
like.
we don't really have it.
No, and we can change this motion if you want.
Okay, then I would like to change that motion, and I would like to take the dates of the later dates in January, to be able to do that, January 27th to 29th.
That's right after you.
It is the following week.
Yeah, it is. Well, you had a few days at home to recuperate.
1, 2. That's the problem we had before. One right after.
And I would leave the motion at that for now, and because I think we should probably split them up for locations.
So just to recapture, the motion would read, that county council select January 27th to 29th, 2019 as the dates for the 2019 strategic planning retreat.
That's for 2 days or 3?
2 nights,
So that's a Sunday.
yes. Sunday to Tuesday.
So if you're gonna do it in Lethbridge, you may not need the Sunday.
Then you could do it on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say make the location, choose the location first. And then we can talk the dates. I know there's a motion on the floor, so.
Just withdraw it for now. It's much simpler.
Proper leg.
Either way. You can go with the 11th, 13th, February.
So I'm kinda gonna, where are we at here now? You withdrew your motion, so we're gonna select, we're gonna select a place first. Okay. Steve,
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would make a motion that we look for a place in Lethbridge to hold our 2019 strategic planning session.
So the motion could read that the 2019 strategic planning retreat be held in Lethbridge.
any discussion on that? Seeing none, those in favor? Those opposed? It's carried.
Now we can move back to the dates.
Chairman?
Yes.
But now, the date, we could probably make some changes to it because of it being in Lethbridge.
Sure. If it was, sorry, Mr. Chairman, if it was that week, last week in January, could do the 28th, 29th, and part of the 30th, that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We need to travel up on Sunday, obviously.
We can't stay overnight in Lethbridge.
Sure, Anne's got lots of bedrooms in her house.
Yes, I've got like an old sex room in my basement.
The rent's pretty reasonable too there.
Pause.
Well, then I'll make this motion too, that we have, the dates would be 28, 29, and 30, and then the 30th, we just do as long as we need it.
The last day is usually a recap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I mean, just as
A
necessary,
wrap.
if we're done with
Yeah.
that.
Maybe, yeah.
A wrap up kind of thing.
Okay. Any discussion on that? Call the question, those in favor? Those opposed? Carried.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Stay in here. Go back to page 78. Now that we know
Yeah,
that.
county council meetings.
Okay. So thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is being brought back from the last meeting, as mentioned earlier. Now that we do have the date for the strategic planning, it really doesn't change this report. But because January is such a full month, you have Tiffin conference, you have ASB conference, you have strategic planning, and also returning from holidays and whatnot, and trying to get a council meeting in there. We have suggested that we set Wednesday, January 16th as the date for the January council meeting. There was discussion at the last meeting about still having 2 meetings in February and 2 meetings in March. We are still recommending moving forward with just the one meeting per month, and that's strictly due to your calendars and the schedules, and then just getting the agendas together and whatnot. I think I mentioned last time that those are slower months for our agendas, so we anticipate them being too large. That said, it always backfires whenever you say it out loud, so, but we did recommend Thursday, February 14th and Thursday, March 14th as well for council meetings.
Any discussion on that? Morris?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I heard this before, you know, like we try to, you know, combine just one meeting for the month because we're slow. And I know that it backfired. I still prefer just with 2 regular meetings for the month, even if it's a short one. I just want to be done by noon and deal with the issues you need to deal with, because if you try to make the agenda to the length for just a monthly meeting, could be ending up in a very long day, and I don't like to see that.
Tracy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Fair enough. We're also trying to keep your calendars in mind a little bit. There is stat holidays in there. The one in the council meeting in February, you're actually attending Brownlee Emerging Trends Conference,
You can
so
move that to Wednesday.
When is Brownlee then?
Brownlee is February 7th. And then in March, you go out to the RMA conference. Back on the 20th, the meeting is for the 21st, so we were just trying to keep all those things in mind as well. But that said, we can for sure go back to 2.
11th suggested, the 16th
Which month?
of January, the 6th
Mike,
of.
Can't turn on your speaking apparatus.
Thank you.
Thinking, I can't talk and think at the same time. Anyway, the 16th of January, the 6th of February, and the 21st of February. And the Heritage Days and Yukon's after that, so.
Yeah. And for March,
And March would be the 7th.
7th, and then are you fine with the 21st after coming back from conference the very next day?
Well, we can move it to the 22nd if you want.
Did you get all that?
Yeah.
Clausen?
The 22nd, I would have a conflict.
We can leave it on the 21st because we backed up kind of the way we do reports and stuff, so as long as council's not going to be too challenged getting back, then we can just leave it on the 21st. I think that should be okay.
Or we can move it to the 25th, which would be the one day.
Okay. Sounds good too.
That's okay too, it's just the challenge with that is you have a meeting the very following week in March. The other challenge with the RMA conference is that hopefully the agenda is run on the Friday and you can pick it up, but I know you guys are really busy at the RMA conference, so there's not a lot of time for you to review the agenda packages that week, keeping that in mind. Some of you do, I know you go home from the conference and just stay up all night reading it diligently, faithfully. All of you do that, I'm positive.
You taught us how to do that. So, yeah.
That's right.
What do you say, priorities?
So, what's your preference here? One meeting in January is more than adequate.
Yeah.
And then two in February. And then if it's too hard, then we cancel.
Tori?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I don't have a problem with one in February as well, just it being a short month. You know, speaking personally, the reading week is nice. That's the 1 week the kids are home. It is nice to have that week away and kind of turn off the county for a week. Just my personal preference, but that'd be my opinion.
When is that, Tori?
That'd be like the 18th would be the family days, will be 18, 19, 20 that week.
18th to the 22nd. A lot of The kids get their breaks that week.
And Valentine's Day.
Well, that's the week before. So you'd rather have a council meeting on Valentine's
Pete?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I won't be here on the 21st because of Family Day, or because of the week off. So myself too, I'd be okay with one also on February 2.
Any other comments? What day in February then?
14th was the recommendation. Do you want to vote on each month separately, maybe?
No.
No, no, no. That's a hard no. Got
I
it.
only have a little bit of paper left to write on here.
Running out.
Yeah, do it, Steve.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. On subdivision applications, there's a 45-day window that has to be dealt with. Does one meeting a month take care of that, or?
Sometimes not.
So with regards to subdivisions, there's a 60 days that they have to be heard by county council. The 1 month can be challenging. But notwithstanding that, we can, if that's what council wants for meetings, we can work around it. Especially since February is a shorter month, that's in our favor, so.
And given the fact that we're trying really hard to prepare things ahead of time, we're backing up the reports a bit by 2 weeks, just to have more time internally to review them, then we're a little bit more prepared for council meetings and timelines for all the applications and whatnot, so it should improve. And just to quantify this is only for the 3 months in 2019. And then, of course, obviously in April, we'd go back to 2 a month.
Don't we have? So we decided only one in March too?
Not
Oh,
We haven't decided much.
really said.
because sooner or later, you're gonna get to the one where it's pretty big or backed up by this, so.
2 in March is fine by us, I guess. It's just the conference.
Yeah, okay.
That's more for you guys.
If you guys are okay
To
on
accommodate.
21st, that would be fine too, so we can go back to 2 in March. What is it?
It's 7 and 21, yeah.
Last year in January, we started at 9:35. 10 before.
Steve?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So I would move that we change the dates of January's meeting to January 16th and February's meeting to Thursday, February 14th. And just leave March as 2 meetings for the month.
That was the 16th of January, the 14th of February?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then status quo. Okay.
Any further discussion? Call for the question. Those in favor? Those opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Okay, 2017 WCB refund, and that's on page 80 to 82.
Hello. So on page 80, as the REIM indicated, is the report regarding the 2017 WCB PIR refund. So each year, WCB reviews the county's partnership in reduction, which is the PIR, against the industry standards across Alberta. So the county has received the 2017 PIR refund from WCB in the amount of $18,489, which is based on 20% discount of the program's IYP, or improving your performance criteria. So Generally, the PIR is based on 3 criteria that they use. One is achieving your certificate of recognition, improving your performance, and maintaining industry leadership. So within those cores, the maximum percentage that you can achieve is 20%, which is what is represented with the YIP that the county received this year. I did include other information as to what each of those criteria, a bit of detail on them, but I don't know if we need to get into it too much or not. But administration's recommendation, as in previous years, is to transfer that refund into the safety program reserve. That's generally what we've done in the past, and historically we've put it there for health and safety related items that come up throughout the year, programs, training. Within the budget, we have also used those funds to offset the shared services coordinator in 2018, just kind of to bring that position in as health and safety is a part of her job description. So we just wanted to move those funds.
Morris?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd just like to know what is the total we pay into the workers' compensation per year?
I should have brought my receipt. I know that the PIR is based on the insurable earnings portion. I can definitely get that back to you. I think it's well over $40,000 a year, but I could get you the exact amount, or Tracy can look it up, probably.
Morris?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So that's a nice portion we get returned every year then, if you look at the percentage wise. With that, I would like to make the motion that go along with the recommendation again, Mr. Chairman.
Any further discussion? Call for question, those in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jen.
I think I'm up here still.
Okay, next one is page 85, 87. It is the administration building LED project.
I have Cole joining me for this one as well, for the technical side of this report, because he was responsible for a portion of the RFP. So this report on page 85 is with regards to the LED lighting replacement that we were going to do here in the administrative building. This project was brought forward in the 2018 budget. We've included the project form there for council as well. So the original project, when it was initially quoted for budget purposes, was about $75,000. And Cole can speak more to the process, but at that time, it was difficult to obtain quotes. We were kind of looking at different options at that time, one being sourcing out the lighting ourselves and then having a contractor install. So there were some different scenarios that were considered at budget time. Since then, and with the grant funding that's available, the RFP came in at about $99,000. And also the original grant or rebate program that we were going to access was fully subscribed. They only had $400,000 available within the province, and within the first month it was fully subscribed. And when I was speaking with Cole, he said if one municipality applied for lighting in the arena, that was about 20% of the $400,000 gone right off the hop, so to speak. It's not all bad news though. There's another program that we were able to access, the Energy Efficiency Alberta rebate program. So it's for $13,000 versus the $18,500 that we were hoping to get through the other program. So that does offset some of the $99,000 cost. And then with the difference, what we would like to do or recommend to council is that the $86,000 be funded through MSI operating. Initially we had recommended using the building reserve to fund the other portion, but we've since had some MSI operating projects that have been canceled. Some have come in cheaper than what we initially submitted, so we have additional funds available to us that we would like to use rather than lose, so to speak. So We'd like to maximize the MSI operating grant as much as we can. And of course, it saves those dollars from being drawn from the reserves for future projects or bigger projects if they come forward, specifically with the administrative building reserve. There's some limited funds there.
So, just, this is to do the entire building here,
Yes.
basement to second floor?
Yes, the entire building and exterior lights, emergency lights, exit lights, office lighting.
So, how much do you think we would actually save a year? Like, this seems like an awful big number just to change the light bulbs.
Well, we're thinking about $5,000 annually in electrical costs. Also, now that the solar panels are in place, there'll be some additional savings we should see on that side as well. So it will be a combined savings.
Oh, yeah, the green light is on. Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. You know, like, whenever there's the grant money available down there, you know, we seems to want to jump on that bandwagon, you know, that, hey, we gotta change it and change these things, you know, and just like our chairman said, you know, like, how much did we really gain, you know? And I think we gained so much already, you know, from a few years back when we had to do all our business by candlelight. Now we gotta go LED lighting, and now, to be honest with you, I think we should have thought this thing through a little bit more, and we could have used maybe that funding for somewhere else would be more beneficial to the people in the county, like whatever. But anyways, I think we're in the progress already, so it's pretty tough to turn the clock back anymore on this. I think we're in the middle of it already. Are we?
Councilor Zeenstra, through the chair, we have issued the RFPs and we've received them back, but we haven't accepted any at this time. We're bringing this forward to council now because of the cost increase, so we haven't committed to anything yet.
Just for clarity too, Jen, was this part of the capital projects for the 2018 budget?
It was part of the 2018 operating projects. Yes.
But approved by council?
Yes, it was approved in the budget.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments? Dan?
Mike?
I'm not sure, but
Mike?
I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure that these are fluorescent lights in here, and that they just have to be removed, and then the LED lights put in.
Yeah, so the process there is removing these lights and then suspending a new LED panel in its place.
Get rid of the whole light?
Yeah. So
Why would
there's
it?
quite a bit of additional labor and time and disposal costs required to do that. And the original estimate didn't include that. So that's partially where the additional funds are coming from.
Oz? Oh, yeah, I'll ask after, go ahead.
Well, looking at the whole thing, we approved the budget last year. Can we retract from that to say that we do not want to go ahead with that? Is there a possibility there? Then I would like to move that we do not go ahead with this project, because having spent pretty much $100,000 on some lighting here, I find that a little bit outrageous, and I think we could spend our money better on other things.
Any other comments? So one other question, which is easier on the people sitting in the office, LED or these lights?
These lights.
The LEDs are easier, it's more uniform light. This flickers at high rate, you can't see, but it tires you out. It's not actually healthy for you. It's current lights.
Claus?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. just depends on who you talk to. We have them at home, we got them in the barns. They're hard, sometimes hard on your eyes, I must say. And I think these are easier on your sight and everything like that than some of the LEDs.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, I'm gonna call the question. Those in favor? Those opposed? It's carried. Thank you.
Sorry, just for clarification. Oh, okay, carried. So this motion that we proposed has been carried, or the motion that was on the floor that's been carried?
Floor.
Oh, okay, so the project's been canceled.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for clarifying.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I believe that is the agenda.
On the second page.
I would- Oh,
Put your pages over.
oh, yeah. Okay, pages 88 to 91, Alberta Motor Association, that's an invitation for the regional board to meet with us. Who's presenting this? Yeah, me.
There's been a request from the Alberta Motor Association for participation, sorry, Councillor Vanderveen was disrupting me. Sorry, Ed. So they'd like to come and attend a council meeting to talk to county council just about the various programs and whatnot, and input from council. So we're just looking for some feedback from council whether they would like them to come or not. What? Sorry.
Rain shaking your head.
What? No?
We're going there.
Oh, we're going there. Okay, sorry, Lorraine.
They're asking for us to meet with them.
Oh, in a board to council meeting.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, let's say a council meeting, isn't it? Okay. What's that?
There's
Oh, naps. Oh, okay.
I know we got to do something.
Don't go there, Lauren. Anyway, any discussion on that? You want to do this? I think it'd be a good thing to do, maybe. Morris? Any further discussion? Call for the question. Those in favor? Opposed? Carried. Next one is Sawa letter of support request.
We had a request from Councillor Vanderveen, who sits on the Sawa board, for support. And the recommendation is that the county forward a letter of support under the Reeves signature to the Southern Alberta Energy Forum from Waste Association for their ACP application for funding to complete the sitting projects. They did request this a few weeks ago, but we couldn't make the last council meeting, so it's coming forward at this time.
No, I think you covered all that. It's a support for some grants for the siding projects, and I think that looking that we are coming closer to maybe getting something finally done. And all the funding that we can get, we have to see that we get it. And I don't know if you read a little bit further in there that there's also a proposal to increase the fees per capita. And that would go from 40 cents that we have right now to 53 cents. It is 53, not 54, and that would be a total of about $1,300 a year. And the reason for this is that they have always managed to get by with the funding that we had, 40 cents per capita. and that seems to slowly be not enough anymore. And so that's why we're asking, since 2013, there has not been, we have not asked for a rate increase. So that was the ask.
Morrison. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the per capita went from 40 cents to 51 cents? 53? So, and you said that's going to be an increase of $1,300? The thing is, we've been hearing this dance and song about South for the last 10 years, that they're getting pretty close or whatever, you know, like, I'm at the point on there that I'm an absolutely non-believer anymore in that organization, and the reasons for that is, this is going on a yearly basis, you know, like we're getting close. Well, as far as I can see, you know, they're not getting any closer. And the reasons for that is, if you don't have a couple of big cities like Lethbridge and Calgary joining this, I cannot see it, that's going to be feasible.
Everybody.
You bet you can.
So it was my first year on this SAWA board, Morris, and what I have seen where they came from and where they are now, and with we got the life cycle analysis all done. Everything is done. They spent quite a bit of money. We had quite a bit of grants to do all that, and I do have the life cycle analysis. I do have that available. If you want to read it, and then you can see exactly how far we are and what we all have done. But it is confidential, but we were allowed to have our counselors look at it and read it. So if the counselor here and CEO, if you guys want it, I can see that you get it, and I have it in my here. So I mean, we could get something done that the rest of council can also see where this is going, because I think that would explain a lot of where we are today. Because right now, just with a little explanation of what we're doing, that probably doesn't justify where we are today.
Who does?
Mark. Yeah, thank you again, Mr. Chairman. You know, I'm a little puzzled over that, you know, like if they do have a report on there and you're saying it's confidential, you know, confidential. And anyways, if that's what it is, we should have been we should have had a presentation of this thing, and it could have been in Canada. But the thing is, as far as me as a counselor, and I'm not sure of the rest of them, how they feel about it, you know, but I think we're really in the dark.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think to clarify, we got this life cycle analysis. We got this last week Friday at our last SAWA meeting that we had. So it was not possible for all the councillors to be able to get that they could have read through it, because it's a pretty extensive booklet that is there. And I do think, so that's why the presentation could not have been made before that. And the confidentiality is because if we spent on this life cycle analysis, there was $350,000 spent on it in order to get this thing all done. And I think if that gets in the wrong hands, that people can use it without having to work on it now and not spend the money to get this information would not be correct.
All right.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman. So then I would like to make a motion down here that we wait till further on before we approve the increase, that we're going to have the ability down there to look at their best report they got available, however not available as a total, too, because certain municipalities don't know about it yet. I'm willing to wait till then, and I think my motion is I think we should wait
building.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'm just an explanation on that, we did approve it as a board of SAWA, but we still have to get all the other communities to approve it in order to be able to go ahead with it. So that's fair enough that you're doing it that way. And so then, yes, you will get the information, and then maybe you can make a better decision on that.
Any other discussion? Steve?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In the original motion, it says the grant application for funding to complete the siting project. Have they chosen a site, or what does siting project refer to?
That is also part of what the grant is going to be for, because we have a couple of sites in mind, but then the site has to be approved and has to qualify to be able to do it, because I mean, you can pick a site, but I mean, you don't know what's in the ground and everything like that. So I mean, there's all kinds of changes that could be made there, and that's why we have 3 or even beyond that sites that we can go on. And then of course it's the economics. We're looking for sites that are close to power grids, water, main highways, and so with that, you know, Lethbridge would probably could also qualify for a site.
Just further on that and clarification, so the sitting projects and the funding, is it to complete site selection? Is that what the funding's for?
Bob?
Is the city on board yet?
The city of Lethbridge was on board. They left, I think, quite a few years ago when they decided to they got land, I think, if I'm not mistaken, from the county. That was before my time, and that they built a new landfill here. And I don't know if that's all correct, but I think that had part to do with it, that they went on their own. But it's, and I could probably add that Lethbridge is looking at doing some big things with their landfill again, and so they could be coming to the county again for more land, because they're getting closer to filling that one up.
Well, okay, so they chose not to get involved for a multitude of reasons, they believe, but they already had the current landfill operating, and it hasn't had just the site expansion on it, but it's still on the property they originally got. So the new expansion, I believe, is still on the property they have.
And looking at the economics for the city of Lethbridge, and I don't know if they're looking at the environment or not, but right now there's a tremendous amount of revenue coming in for the city of Lethbridge having the landfill there, and we're all paying towards it like big time. So, and for that reason alone, I think that we should be looking at like continuing this the SAWA and going from there. So, but you can make that decision later.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question.
Mr. Chairman, can we just have clarification on what the question is?
On the question, just on the ground.
So it's just to wait until we get the report that they had just got received last Friday? Is that correct?
I thought you did a motion.
That more.
We wait till we have it more.
But it's in two phases here, 2 parts. That the grant that we're applying for, if we can, as a county, can support that, and then the increase in levies, Morris made a motion that we wait with that till, so right now, I don't know if you want to finish the one motion that you got on the table first before we do the other one.
So Morris just made a motion to wait for the report pending. Yeah. Lorraine,
Would you like me to read this?
please.
Move that Lethbridge County postpone the increase in levies request until such time as further information is received on the siting geotechnical analysis and membership stakeholder engagement.
Sounds good.
Okay. It's a little different than what I had written down, but yeah, makes sense. Any further discussion on that? We call the question, those in favor? Those opposed? Carried. So now you're saying, Claus, you need a motion for a letter of support.
And so I will make that motion for a letter of support for the AFC grant we're applying for.
Any further discussion? Go ahead, Ken.
This reason for the recommendation, they're requesting that letters of support be obtained from member municipalities to include along with their PCP funding application.
Yeah, that's correct. These two are not connected. Because it was, the grant application is being worked on.
Okay, everybody clear on that one? Guess I'll call the question then. Those in favor? Those opposed? Carried. Okay, the next one is L1, and that's an invitation from Viterra. Viterra. 92 to 95. For the Canadian Food Grains Bank at the Viterra elevator on November the 6th. Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would make a motion that Reed be authorized to attend the event.
I don't know, that's a long ways to travel.
You can pick me up and I'll drive you down there.
Any further discussion? Call for the question, those in favor? Opposed? Carried. So Lorraine, next one up is council reports. Do you have a handout for that? No. Good now, so went to the October, do I have to read them all? Yes.
I'll move that we take this for information.
Well, I think we just need to do once for everybody going. Is that not good enough? Yeah, I mean, yeah, we should go through each one, but one motion could cover all of them, I think. That's what I meant. Any questions about? Okay, next one. Any questions there? Next one. Any questions? Next one. Any questions? Next. Any questions?
And, Marty, on the October 1st, also went to FCSS meeting. And then the 10th, I did a cordial chamber calls.
Right?
Mr. Chairman, please note that all of these were taken off the time sheets.
Yeah, why don't we put the FCSS because they pay.
Okay, but you need to let me know that.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Any questions? Next. Oh,
Thanks.
I think there's some pre-questions on this one.
I think it was me harvesting.
You guys are all welcome.
Next. That's it, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. Seeing there's no questions, could we have a motion?
Move through.
Thank you. Thanks, Larry.
Those in favor of that motion? Opposed? Carried. Motion to adjourn. Morris. Adjourn? Morris? All in favor?